Good morning, race fans, and welcome back to the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. We are at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, where we've got 250 laps scheduled on the last great Coliseum. As always, I'm your host, James Eastspring, the Action 1080p 60 frames a second. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, looking forward to another great race. And it's going to be interesting how this one pans out, as I think cautions could very well be the name of the game here. As in practice, we saw a lot of drivers running out of talent, throwing it against the wall, and other race cars in total disregard for public safety. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out here tonight. John Hinchcliffe on pole with a 14.76 in that number 8 machine, as we are focused in on that number 8, clicking off laps. Going to complete his time. It's going to be a 14.76. His best time. Let's check in on Jeff Miller, the number 68 machine, see how he can do in qualifying. As always, thank you to our fans, friends, and family all across the world. Tune in either on YouTube or the Twitch side of things. And as always, this show will be immediately available for viewing on the Team Goon Squad Roku channel following today's broadcast. Al Turner out on track. He moves up to 7th in the 76. Looks like Miller going to complete his with a 15.36, his fastest time. Still waiting on a lot of more heavy hitters going out in traffic. We're waiting on Huff, Glass, Hill, Walsh, Dodson, MacArthur. Here, Ogle. Looks like Garisco getting queued up to go out onto the track. Garisco in the number 28. Crisco backed Ford Mustang. And this is also elimination day for the Chase playoffs. We start off with 16 drivers in the Chase. We're going to whittle it down to 12. Right now, Dakota Pischke, Lee Warsdale, Brian Lynch, Daniel Hill, and Robert Garisco on the bubble. Looks like Thompson, Watts, Jones, MacArthur, and Huff, I believe, have locked their way into the next round here. As let's see what Garisco can do out on track. Again, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will very frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor, and if they don't, they just about always go back watching the show, studying the tapes. Briscoe with a little bit of shimmy there as he crosses the line. Barely moves up with a 15.21, settling in on 12th. About 10 drivers who have yet to put down a time here. Times go by very, very quickly at Bristol, averaging less than a 15-second lap time. Now, in theory, that would be about an hour of racing for these drivers, not counting cautions, not counting pit stops. I think we're going to have a fair amount of both here. We'll try and get a poll up on the YouTube side of things. As Garisco comes back down pit road, MacArthur rolls out. And we went ahead and put the poll up on the YouTube side of things. And MacArthur quickly coming out, putting it on top of pole in the 83 Bass Pro Back Chevrolet. And we went and put a poll up on YouTube. So we've got that going for our fans here today. Let's see who else is rolling out on track. Dean Gear trying to put down a qualifying time in the 92. He did a 15.55 his last time by. Got to get down to a 14.71 if he wants to dethrone Ogle. Let's see, Gear does a good job of 14.89, but not quite enough to dethrone that White Claw back number 11. Chris Walsh also out on track. Got Terrence joining us on the YouTube side of things. He's cheering for Dan Hill. Chris Walsh, the number 63 machine, sponsored by Jim Beam. Has about a minute left to go in qualifying. He clicks off a 14.87 his opening lap. It looks like Brian Glass going out late for a qualifying run as well. So Walsh will settle in at a 14.87. Let's see what Glass can do in the 87 machine. He had to check up heavily there. Let's see what the lap time reflects. Not too heavily as he clicks off a 14.86. Glass will settle with a 14.77. That's good enough for fourth. I think he's going to be the last driver out on track as qualifying comes to a close. Now Ogle qualified on pole, but we have heard in the paddock that Race Control has assigned him an EOL for earlier incidents this season. So all that work from Ogle will be undone here as we get ready to grid him up and start things off at Bristol. And let's run through tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine. Dwayne MacArthur starting second. Don Hinchcliffe starts third. Brian Glass starting fourth. Eddie Jones starts fifth. Michael Watt starting sixth. Steve Thompson starts seventh. Greg McDaniel starting eighth. Dakota Pischke starts ninth. Chris Walsh starting 10th. Dean Gear starts 11th. Brian Lynch starting 12th. Cycling it back to Al Turner starting 13th. Dan Hill starting 14th. Brian Lindsay starting 15th. Jonathan Green starts 16th. Lloyd Moore starts 17th. Chris Clark starts 18th. Robert Garisco starting the 19th spot. Jeff Miller starting 20th. Ken Huff starting 21st. Don Hastings starting 22nd. Garrett Cottingham, our lone rookie out on track. He'll be starting 23rd. Bert Dodson starts 24th, and that will round out the field here. 24 entries. I brought to my attention that the YouTube description is actually incorrect, so we'll get that corrected for you. There we go. Now we're at Bristol. So to be clear, we are in fact at Bristol and not at Kansas here today. As we roll them off, 250 laps. And you can see Ogle on the live timing tower dropping down the standings as he serves that opening race EOL. Ogle is going to go all the way to the back after qualifying on pole. That's going to allow the front row to be Dwayne MacArthur, John Hinchcliffe, Jones, Glass, your second row, Thompson and Watts, your third row. As we get ready for that iRacing safety car to come down pit road next time by. Now it also showed a pretty healthy field here tonight. 24 drivers have entered the Coliseum. Not quite that many, I think, are scheduled to leave. Bristol has been known to be a little bit tough on race cars. We've got 250 laps scheduled here tonight. Drivers very, very snap loose, especially until they get heat in the tires. And away we go, green flag racing. MacArthur picks up an early hole shot and trying to check out from the rest of the field. Right behind him, it looks like that was Eddie Jones. Michael Watts going side by side. Jones on the inside line against the all-blue 84 machine. Steve Thompson, number 67, watching right behind. Driver's going to try and get some sort of groove here and see if they can just click off some laps, as it's a bit frantic out on track. Brian Glass trying to take over the second place spot from Hinchcliffe's number 8 machine. Glass looks like he makes the pass work nice and easy there. No big problems. But Hinchcliffe trying to fire back, running a much higher line here. There's Michael Watts, 84. He's going low. Oh, a big run from Watts. He's going to try and take over that third place spot from Hinchcliffe. Looks like he's going to do it pretty squarely here. Now, over the course of the run, drivers going to pick some different lines and see what they can make happen. Guys that run predominantly on the bottom are running, kind of wearing out that left rear. Guys up top are a little bit more pushy, wearing out the right front. Michael Watts had the fastest lap. It's going to be taken back by Brian Glass in second, a 15:08. We go a little bit further back. Dean Gear is side by side with Eddie Jones in the battle for fifth. Gear is up 6 spots so far in the KFC back 92. Mr. Pickle himself is definitely our hard charger early on. It's going to be interesting to see if we have a comeback story from Tom Ogle. He qualified in pole. He had the EOL. He's worked his way back to 19th, but he's got a long day cut out ahead of him. A little bit further back, looks like Dakota Pischke picking up a spot from Chris Walsh in the 63 machine, but great racing all over. I'm trying to find a nice wide-angle shot of the absolute. There it is, the Hornet's Nest. That's Dan Hill and Al Turner battling for 11th, but we've got problems. Looks like that was Brian Lindsay taking a wild ride. And that's going to bring out the first caution of the night. Let's see what happens. Keep an eye on Lindsay, the number 24 machine. He's up on the high line. Oh, gets a little bit loose there. Starts to snap loose, nowhere to go. Drills the outside wall. Now look at that. Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine in the bottom left. He got spun kind of towards pit road there. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets some sort of penalty from that as well. So Lindsay taking a tow down pit road with a whole lot of damage. And that will be our first caution, 11 laps into this main event. Now Ogle is out on track still, so hopefully he didn't trigger that full-blown pit entry line. Looks like Dan Hill, Al Turner, Tom Ogle, Garrett Cottingham, Jonathan Green, Chris Clark, Jeff Miller, John Hastings, Bert Dodson, all coming down pit road. And we are running both lanes open on the pits here at Bristol. Look at everybody who came down pit road taking 4 fresh tires underneath him, getting back out on track. Not seeing any penalties reported. Now MacArthur, your race leader, he's already locked into the playoffs here, so he's pretty much good to go. Dan Hill, who came down pit road, he's back in 21st. He's going to have a good night here if he wants to try and get into the next round before we dwindle it down to 12 drivers. Right now, the voting up over on YouTube saying it's going to be over 4 cautions. Pace car is in. It's MacArthur and Glass on the front row, Hinchcliffe and Watts right behind, and we are green flag racing once more here at Bristol. It looks like Brian Glass didn't get the start he was looking for. Hinchcliffe's going to charge around the outside line. Is right behind them. That's Watts and Jones side by side. Dean Gear in that 92 machine, still clicking off standings, making it happen. And now it's going to be Bert Dodson, our hard charger. The number 59 is up 11 spots. As Watts and Hinchcliffe still side by side. Watts working the bottom, Hinchcliffe up high. Jones following Hinchcliffe. MacArthur pulls about a 3/10 gap, and a little bit almost looked like contact there between Watts and Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe backed out of it heavily. That's going to allow Dean Gear to slide on through. Going a little bit further back into the meat grinder. The battle for the top 10 is pretty fair, out of control. That's Greg McDaniel, the number 30 machine. Jonathan Green trying to work up in the 37, but there's Lloyd Moore, Tom Ogle, Brian Lynch. Ogle has worked his way up into 13th already. He may be a little bit happy about these cautions, given a chance for the field to condense once more. Ogle looking at the inside line of the 37 of Green. Looks like Ogle's going to make it happen here. And now here comes Dan Hill as well, the number 10 machine, trying to work his way around. He's side by side with Al Turner, looking to get next to Green's 37, the Oakley-backed Ford Mustang. Looks like Hill's going to do it here. I believe Hill running the United States Air Force paint scheme on the number 10 machine instead of his normal MXPX sponsorship. And Ogle's going to continue the charge here. Getting around Lloyd Moore, working his way up into 11th. And now looking for 10th as he's got Greg McDaniel in his sights. Oh my, Ogle is a man possessed here. He obviously had the pace. He qualified in pole position, but the EOL, not what he was really looking for. And my goodness, Ogle already challenging for 9th against Dakota Pischke. Grandpa Pischke, as he's lovingly called by the fans. Only a 10th of the way through tonight's main event. And we are watching the number 11 machine start blasting through the field. Now, he did come down pit road under caution. He took 4 fresh tires underneath him. And that could very well be the difference. Now, these drivers can go an extremely long time on fuel. But tire management, if we get a green flag run, will definitely be crucial to carrying a good pace all the way around. And we watch John Hinchcliffe take back over that 3rd place position from Michael Watts. As up ahead, that's Brian Glass keeping the pressure on race leader, the fast Canadian Dwayne MacArthur in the 83 machine. MacArthur qualified 2nd here. Already locked into the playoffs, so he's just trying to bring home a clean car by the time it's all said and done. As now the top 3 starting to bunch up. That's MacArthur, Glass, and Hinchcliffe. Ogle has worked his way back into 6th, passing Eddie Jones. Now, will these top 3 drivers maybe work together for a little bit, or are they every man for himself out here? Now, Glass and Hinchcliffe running up way against the wall. Looks like MacArthur running more of a medium line. almost diamonding the corner a little bit. It looks like Glass carrying a little bit more corner speed. And that is very slowly allowing Watts and Gear running 4th and 5th to catch up to the lead pack here. We pan the camera back to Watts. There's Gear in the 92 machine tucked in right behind him. Oh, there we go. Hinchcliffe and Glass going at it. And we're going to have another caution coming out to interrupt the party. Trying to find out where it was. I think it was Jonathan Green. Yes, it was. Take a quick peek, see what happened to the 37 machine. Oh, a little bit of contact there, trying to see who that was also involved. Take another look at that one. I think that may be the 59 of Bert Dodson. Dodson's way up high. Nowhere to go. I think Green might have come up a little bit. And then somehow it also showed Jeff Miller involved in an incident. Let's take a quick look at that one. I'm not sure if that was maybe just getting checked up for the pit stop. Let's check in on Miller's 68 machine. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Just checking up enough. Both him and Robert Garisco triggering the crash report. That's interesting. Lloyd Moore, Ken Huff opting to stay out in the 26 and the 46. Everybody else coming down pit road. Now Ken Huff's coming down pit road, it looks like. Moore going to stay out on older tires. A very gutsy decision. Be our second caution of the evening. I think those that were voting for over 4 cautions on the YouTube side of things are feeling pretty optimistic here. Gonna try and get them gridded back up double file. Drivers shuffling around. And let's see, it's gonna be MacArthur and Hinchcliffe on the front row, both with fresh tires. Watts and Glass, your second row. Here in Ogle, who's returning up towards the front. They'll be on the third row. Green flag is out. Let's go racing once more. I think Hinchcliffe's going to try and make a big jab at it on the inside line to try and take over the lead from MacArthur. MacArthur just carries so much speed through 1 and 2 to hold on to the race lead. MacArthur absolutely going for it. Brian Glass looks like he wants to take over the second place spot. He's going to push Hinchcliffe back to third. Ogle has made his way up into fourth here in the White Claw back number 11. Right behind him, that's Watts, Gear, Hill. Walsh all in the fray. And what a fray it is, as it looks like Dan Hill's going to muscle his way up towards the front, but a big crash from Chris Walsh. The 63 machine is going to bring out the caution. The field checks up, thankfully not running over the 63 machine. And a quick third caution here, as Walsh is going to try and limp it down onto pit road. Looked like that was another incident of just getting loose there. Keep an eye on the left side of your screen. Walsh checks up a little bit to avoid bumping into Dean Gear's 92 machine. And yeah, just gets loose there. I believe that's coming out of 2 and just absolutely pulverizes the inside wall. Well done, though, locking up the brakes as the rest of the field tries to communicate. There is a car crash right here, and everybody takes evasive maneuvers. So a very quick third caution on that restart. And unfortunately, Chris Walsh is going to be done and out of it here. Another interesting point of topic for the Metro Ford Cup Series. Only 7 incident points available to these drivers and no fast repairs. You're going to see that list of active drivers really start to dwindle. I believe we've got 19 or 20 drivers on the lead lap. Jonathan Green has retired from this main event. Brian Lindsay has returned to the track surface. Our hard charger, as it stands, Bert Dodson, the 59 machine, he's up 12 spots. Dividing the field in half, started at the very back, has worked his way resoundingly middle pack here, so a good effort, a good charge so far from that number 59, excuse me, at Bert Dodson. And yes, I believe those who said over 4 cautions on the YouTube poll are gonna be correct on this one. Ready to back up, double file. Pace car is in. And away we go with MacArthur and Glass on the front row. Look at this, Tom Ogle back up towards the front. But he's going to get shuffled back to 4th as Brian Glass, John Hinchcliffe want to hold on to those top 3 spots. A lot of hard chargers up inside the top 10 here as Hinchcliffe and Ogle battle it out for 3rd. Right behind them, that's Watts, Hill, Jones, Gear. Al Turner a little bit behind as well in the 76 machine. Be focused on Dan Hill trying to make something happen. Ogle has shimmied his way up into 3rd. The comeback story out of that number 11 is here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hill holding on to the top 5 spot. He's got Gear and Hinchcliffe right behind him. There's Eddie Jones, a wily veteran, the number 14 machine. A big charge up the inside line from Dean Gear, though. Going to be a good one here. Hill battling out for gear in that 5th place spot. Your race leader, Brian Glass, has put down the fastest lap of the night, a 14.96. We've had 3 early cautions. As we try and get the YouTube connection sorted out here. Not sure what's going on there. Trying to get things corrected up here in the booth for you, ladies and gentlemen. As it's currently Glass, MacArthur, and Ogle, your top 3. The fact that Ogle has passed just about the entirety of the field after that early race EOL, getting back up here in podium contention, very, very impressive. Now we've got 20 drivers on the lead lap. And until you go back to about the 12th place spot with Dakota Pischke, who has Hastings, Cottingham, McDaniel, Moore, and it looks like Garisco on the fray, things are getting a little bit spread out inside the top 10. As McDaniel falls back to 17th, Robert Garisco taking over the 16th place spot. John Hastings now our hard charger, up 10 positions in the number 32. He's just gotten around Pischke's number 1. About 6/10 off and closing to Steve Thompson, 67. Thompson running 11th. And Thompson's kind of in no man's land here. As the field's stacking up behind Pischke, it looks like that's Moore and Cottingham. Cottingham with a triple digit, signifying he's a rookie driver here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. He was not allowed to qualify. And he has to meet a minimum safety rating before he can join the big dogs, so to speak, with the double digits and get out there. So Cottingham in the 114. The fact that he's racing at Bristol as a rookie driver is extremely impressive with how important the safety rating is that's recorded. And these guys have a maximum incident point per lap system. Over the course of a season, I believe it's the opening 4 races, they take into account your average incident points per lap, and if you're above that limit, you receive EOLs, and you can even be parked for a few races if you don't meet the safety standards. Speaking of safety standards, look at Tom Ogle, Dwayne MacArthur battling for second here. Again, Ogle, I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming into tonight, wanting to prove that despite the EOL, he's going to make the best of it. As Ogle has taken over the 2nd place position. Now they're about 9/10 behind Brian Glass. Ogle and MacArthur losing a bit of time, battling with each other. Now Ogle has to be careful here not to drive with too much red mist and burn up those tires if we get a long green flag run. Now, a long green flag run, not sure if that's going to happen. And still, we've got great side-by-side racing all across the track. This is Lloyd Moore, Dakota Pischke battling for 13th. Moore is up 4 spots, Pischke down 5. Like Chris Walsh has joined the list of drivers putting it back in the virtual hauler. Things are happening up front. Brian Glass has company from Tom Ogle's number 11 machine. This might be the most amount of aggressiveness we've ever seen out of that White Claw back number 11 Ford Mustang. Tom Ogle has something to prove here, as these drivers have quickly put a 1.2 second gap over Dwayne MacArthur, sitting in 3rd. I'm looking here. I believe Ogle does have the fastest lap so far of the night as well, a 14.87, at least 500ths to a tenth faster than anybody else has been able to do here tonight. But with how hard he's pushing, how's the tire management going to be? There's still 20 drivers on the lead lap. it won't be long before Ogle finds himself facing traffic. I think Burt Dodson, the 59 machine, about to come into frame here as Ogle crosses the start-finish line. Yeah, you can just see Dodson ahead of him. He's battling with Jeff Miller's 68 machine in the battle for 19. Ogle is in a rhythm here, but about to have to face traffic. That's Ken Huff in the 46 machine. He's already a lap down. And it looks like, not quite sure who that was that ducked down to the apron there. Now Ogle in the driver's meeting warned everybody else, hey, I'm coming through. And look, there's Dwayne MacArthur right behind him in the 83 machine. The field's starting to tighten back up here. But Ogle warned the other drivers he's going to have his elbows out and he's coming through. But I think Dwayne MacArthur's got other plans as well, putting the pressure back on that number 11 machine. Ken Huff hops down to the inside line to try and allow the race leaders by. Brian Glass, Michael Watts, Dan Hill, the top five, also starting to rejoin the top of the pack as Hill with a big move up the inside line against Watts. We go 3 wide at Bristol. Hill able to make that one happen. Making it 3 wide with Michael Watts and Brian Glass all inside the top 5. Ogle holds onto the race lead with MacArthur in hot pursuit. Now Hill's about 9/10 back from that battle for second. And he does have Ken Huff in the 46 machine squeezed between him and the top 2 drivers. A little bit further back, Brian Glass in 5th is battling out with Eddie Jones. You can also see Al Turner's 76 machine sitting in 7th place. But now it's going to be Dan Hill, our hard charger. Let me make sure of that. Yes, he has gained the most positions in the highest positions. Dan Hill, the number 10, is up 11 spots so far here tonight at Bristol. Working his way all the way up into podium contention. Didn't have the qualifying run he was looking for. Started 14th, currently 3rd out on track. As the fans noticing how great that number 10 machine's running. And here's the Hornet's Nest we were talking about, just outside the top 10, or just inside the top 10. Brian Lynch in 8th has company from Hinchcliffe, Moore, Thompson, Hastings, Pischke, Briscoe. All bunched up together here. More drivers hopping down the apron, seeing that they have no interest in getting involved in the fray here. Don Hastings in 12th, another driver who's up a lot of positions. He's gained 10 so far over tonight in the 32, makes the 11 after fighting up the inside line of Pischke. As now we're starting to hear some mistakes, starting to hear some drivers tagging that outside wall. Pete Thompson moves back into 9th ahead of Brian Lynch's number 9 machine. Hastings and Lynch putting on more side-by-side action as Thompson tries to put the pressure on Brian Glass in the battle for 8th. Looks like Thompson may make it happen here on the inside line. Lynch trying to do the opposite on the outside line against Hastings, with that 32 machine hugging the bottom line and not willing to give it up. That's going to allow Dakota Pischke, Robert Narisco to close the gap ever so slightly. These guys, especially from about 8th place back, throwing haymakers. As it looks like Hastings getting a little bit of a breakaway, so now it's going to be Dakota Pischke leading this pack side by side with Brian Glass, Robert Garisco, Brian Lynch, John Hinchcliffe. Still in the fray. They've got about a 1.3 second breakaway of Dean Gear, who's fallen back to 15th. Gear was very good in the short run. Maybe struggling with the long run ever so slightly as we're focused in on Robert Garisco's number 28. Seeing if he can work around Brian Glass as they drag race around the half mile here at Bristol. Brian Lynch still just looking for any opening he can find. Drivers wisely hopping onto the apron to allow these lead lap drivers by. I wonder if that's, I'm trying to see who that may be. I don't think it was Ken Huff. Maybe that was Brian Lindsay, yes, who just came down pit road, the number 24 machine. Checking back in on Tom Ogle, the number 11. Keeping MacArthur at bay by about 0.6 of a second. We've whittled it down to 15 drivers on the lead lap. And now it looks like Ogle trying to track down Greg McDaniel's number 30 machine. I believe is going to be the next driver going down a lap. As something has happened to Brian Glass, he's fallen back to 15. On board with Ogle, ripping the outside line, getting around Glass. That is McDaniel and Hinchcliffe just ahead of him, having their own battle for 13th. This is a tough spot for a lead car to be in. Generally, traffic would try and yield the line if they can, but if you're in your own battle for position, all bets are kind of off at that point. Now, if we can go green, and my oh my, is that a big if here at Bristol. We're expecting the fuel window to open up around anywhere between lap 100 and close on lap 160, a very wide window for these drivers depending on what type of strategy they're looking for. I would tend to think that Ogle is going to stretch it out to the limit, and that's going to put his, in theory, he could stretch it all the way out to lap 180 if the tires hold up. It's going to be more about tire management than it's going to be about fuel management here at the half mile. And while he's cutting through traffic, MacArthur has company from Dan Hill's number 10 machine, the battle for second. The top three wasting no time to cut through the field here, making it 13 drivers on the lead lap. As we go on board the fast Canadian Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur not really gaining or losing time on Ogle. Let's pan over to Ogle's onboard, that number 11. He is definitely going to have his hands full with traffic. That's going to be McDaniel's number 30 machine ahead of the race leader. Hill staying right there, shadowing MacArthur. And lap times due to tire wear and traffic management have rapidly fallen off. Ogle's fastest lap of the race of 14.87. Last time by a 16.4. You can tell the pace really slowing down, and that's going to make passes a lot more difficult to make when the tires are thoroughly burned in here. Watch Ogle getting a little bit closer to the back of McDaniel. McDaniel running 12th out on track. He's down 4 spots from where he started. But I think those early cautions really played to Ogle's luck here after that EOL. back up to the race lead. So what is comeback story so far? We don't want to hit him with a commentator's curse, but qualified in pole position, received the EOL, started 24th, dead last here at Bristol, has cut through the entirety of the field, back into the race lead. And now he's got to be very careful to keep himself out of the vortex of danger, not wanting to put that number 11 machine in too risky of a spot, because MacArthur and Hill would be more than happy to watch Ogle throw away his own race here and allow them to slide up into the lead. Ogle makes it 11 drivers in the lead lap. John Hinchcliffe coming down pit road for a green flag stop. And man, does Ogle have a ton of traffic ahead of him. That's a nice little tidy pack. Robert Garisco at the tail end of it. I see Dakota Pischke's number 1 machine as well. A little bit further back, still some good tight battling going on. Steve Thompson has Lloyd Moore in hot pursuit, less than 0.2 of a second. A little bit further back, and this is just ahead of the race leader. This is going to be interesting. Dakota Pischke, Robert Garisco separated by, it was a 10th, as here comes Tom Ogle up the inside line, just slicing through traffic. He tucks in behind Pischke on the inside. Garisco's up high. Ogle does not want to get slowed down too much here. As there's Dwayne MacArthur, Dan Hill have rapidly closed the gap to your race leader. Your top 3 separated by less than 0.3 of a second. Ogle goes back up high, losing too much time on the inside line. Garisco and Pischke in their own battle still side by side ahead of them. Looks like Garisco coming out on top ever so slightly in the battle for 10th. Pischke's going to go a lap down here as Ogle works the outside line once more into turns 1 and 2. But look how close MacArthur and Hill are here. We're 8 laps to go until the halfway mark. We've already whittled it down to 10 drivers on the lead lap, where it looks like we've only got 20 drivers currently out on track. Brian Glass has been in pit road for 45 seconds and counting. Brian Lindsay, Chris Walsh, Jonathan Green have all put it back in their virtual hauler. As there's Dean Gear's 92 machine, he's already a couple of laps down, hopping down the apron, trying to make it as easy as possible. As Garisco trying tooth and nail to stay on the lead lap, ripping that inside line with number 28 machine. But Ogle and MacArthur will be able to get by. Looks like Dan Hill squeezed through as well. These top 3 have built up a 4.6 second advantage on Michael Watts, who sits in 4th. Eddie Jones still rounds out our top 5 here at Bristol. Drivers have been out on track for just shy of 90 laps. Top 3 stretching out ever so slightly. 9 drivers on the lead lap. And it's still Ogle, MacArthur, Hill, Watts, and Jones, your current top 5. Now coming into tonight, Hill was 15th in the points. We're only taking the top 12 after Bristol into the next round of Chase playoffs. So Hill's going to be driving like a man possessed. Now I'm curious to see, I think Hill may be able to points his way in here with a good, solid 3rd place finish. But I don't know if he's necessarily in a must-win position. Because Lloyd Moore, who is sitting in 11th, was not able to make it out here tonight. He's at the actual Bristol race, watching the professional NASCAR drivers make their way around. Dakota Pischke is a lap down in 11th. No, excuse me, Lloyd Moore is out on track. It's Lee Warsdale who I'm thinking of, who was unable to make it tonight. That's going to be effectively a free position for these guys. Brian Lynch holding on to it, 13th out on track. So I think Hill may be in a good spot here. If he can just follow along and keep himself clean. But as I say that, he's got a little bit of traffic. That's Ken Huff, I believe, in the 46. Yes, it is. Huff on a 20th, Hill working his way around. But Hill's about 1.3, 1.4 seconds back from MacArthur. And we are past the halfway mark of today's main event. We had 3 early cautions. We've avoided the 4th so far, so not able to close that poll on the YouTube side of the broadcast just quite yet. As Ogle still your race leader. Now I do wonder, does Ogle hope for a long green flag run, or is he hoping for another caution here, because he may have burnt up a little bit more tires than everybody else, having to blitz through the field. MacArthur in a good spot, just kind of stalking that number 11 machine. Now both drivers, really everybody inside the top 7 it looks like, all on the same tire strategy. I'm very intrigued to see how traffic is going to play a role here in the remaining 120 or so odd laps. Ogle has pulled 3/4 of a second advantage over MacArthur. But if we go back to 5th, it looks like Al Turner, the 76, putting the pressure on Eddie Jones for a top 5. Now look at this, here comes Steve Thompson, also trying to see if he can work his way around Eddie. Eddie's starting to fall back ever so slightly here. Wonder if he may have used up a little bit too much tire early on in this run. That has allowed Turner in the 76 machine. He's up 8 positions. Jeff Miller comes down pit road for a green flag stop. Number 68 Ford Mustang. And now we're starting to see some green flag stops. Looks like Brian Lynch, number 9 machine, also coming down pit road. When will Ogle to decide? When is he going to decide to come down? We know he can make it to around lap 180 at the very, very most before he is dry on fuel. MacArthur staying right there with him. Now, during these green flag stops, we've whittled it down to 7 drivers on the lead lap. MacArthur's going to come down pit road a little bit ahead of Ogle's number 11 machine. It's going to allow Dan Hill, Michael Watts to take over the 2nd and 3rd place spot. Now is Ogle setting up for a pit entry? Yes, he is. So Ogle's going to come down pit road, your race leader. That's going to give Dan Hill the lead here and the credit for the lap led, starting lap 149. Michael Watts moves up to 2nd during these green flag stops. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. We got our good friends at Amoeba Racing joining us on the YouTube side of things. Dan Hill comes down pit road. So good to see the fans tune in, support. Great friends, great racers as well. Oh, as we saw Ogle trying to get back out on track. Now, he does not want to get stuck a lap down here if we do have a caution. And that's giving Steve Thompson a chance to lead us around here at Bristol. Al Turner comes down pit road. Live timing, a bit of a mess as there's MacArthur trying to get a lap back. He's going to get on the lead lap in that number 83 machine. A very hectic. I've been told it's AMEOB, if I said that right. AMEOB, I believe. It's AMEOB Racing. Let's see if I can get it right that time. I don't know why I've been reading that as Amoeba this entire time. I've been consistently calling that one wrong, I suppose. There's Tom Ogle also getting back on the lead laps. Thompson stretching that run out as long as he can. Now that's going to put, I believe, Wayne MacArthur as your race leader, as Thompson and McDaniel still have to come down pit road. MacArthur getting around Greg McDaniel. MacArthur, maybe a wise decision to come in 2 laps prior than Tom Ogle. These guys should be able to go all the way till the end. At least on fuel. It's going to be a tire management game if we don't see a late race caution, which we have definitely seen, especially on the short tracks. Throwing some wrenches into plans here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. Tom Ogle has moved back up into 3rd ahead of Greg McDaniel. McDaniel and Thompson inside this top 5 have yet to come down pit road. Thompson stretching the run out as well as McDaniel finally comes down pit road. Checking back in on Thompson, your race leader, the 67 machine. He's going to be trying to fend off traffic as much as he can here, as everybody's going to try and get a lap back and a piece out of that 67 machine. Gear also down pit road. Looks like that was the number 9 machine of Brian Lynch getting a lap back. Now it almost looks like to me like Thompson trying to get low here to get set up for a pit stop, but traffic kind of preventing that 67 machine to get to his preferred line and get dialed in. As Michael Watts gets a lap back in the 84 machine. Watts came in on lap 149. A little shy of 90 laps left to go. There's Dakota Pischke getting a lap back in the number 1 machine as well. But Thompson holding on to the race lead here, not having any issues as of yet. And making it look relatively easy, stretching that run out as long as he possibly can. But now he's got Dwayne MacArthur closing the gap behind him. MacArthur quickly taking over the race lead. Here comes Tom Ogle on the right side of your screen, trying to get some forward momentum. Ogle has worked his way up into second, but MacArthur has a 1.3-second lead. Thompson's going to stretch that fuel run out as long as he possibly can. Does Ogle have anything back in the left in the back pocket here to close the gap to the fast Canadians? Dwayne MacArthur, is this going to be a tire management game and maybe a wait-and-see game if we have any cautions? They have a long time to kind of cut off laps here, take it easy, and try and bring home a clean race car. But Ogle is slowly closing the gap to MacArthur down to 9/10 of a second. There's Al Turner, the 76, going to be fighting to get back on the lead lap here. Turner currently 6th out on track. 5 drivers on the lead lap after that green flag pit stop cycle is completed. But we still have 20 of the 24 drivers still out there rocking and rolling. Now, drivers that have had to retire early: Ryan Glass, Ryan Lindsay, Chris Walsh, and Jonathan Green. None of those drivers in the Chase playoffs. Thompson, Watts, Jones, MacArthur, and Huff, we believe, are all locked into the Chase. And Dan Hill has taken over the 3rd place spot there from Thompson. Michael Watts also moving up the field. Well, I think Dan Hill has the most to gain, the most to lose here to try and lock himself in, because next week we're dwindling it down from 16 to 12 drivers. But here's the battle we're waiting to see, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Ogle has closed the gap to Dwayne MacArthur in the battle for the lead. Tom Ogle would like nothing more than to get back out on track, take over a race win, lock himself into the Chase playoffs after that lap 1 EOL was awarded to the White Clawback number 11 Ford Mustang. And Ogle is here, ladies and gentlemen, challenging MacArthur on the inside line into 1 and 2. Al Turner tries to follow suit in the 76. He wants his lap back. Eddie Jones in his own battle for 6th. As it's getting frantic up front, Ogle up high, MacArthur down low. Turner looking for a way through, Jones following the 76 machine. The battle for the lead continues. MacArthur staying glued to the inside line. Ogle running about 3/4 of the way up the racetrack here. And Ogle will take over the race lead, pulling a 3/10 advantage over the 83 of MacArthur. Quickly putting a 6/10 of a second advantage over MacArthur, who's still battling out with lap traffic. And Ogle has to check up slightly. the drivers not aware that the lead pack is blitzing through the field, very well intermingled. And Ogle's going to try and make it only 4 drivers in the lead lap. That's Steve Thompson, who has not come down pit road since lap 100 and lap 34. He's been out on track for just about 150 laps here as Ogle works his way by. 182 laps, and we've dwindled it down to just 4 drivers on the lead lap here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dyson through once more. That's Pischke and the number 9 machine of Lynch. Steve Thompson finally coming down pit road. He stretched that run out 150 laps here tonight. That is the limit, so that means everybody inside, really everybody out on track at this point, well to go till the end on fuel. Now tires, still a big question for these guys of how far and how long they can push for. Ogle's pulled about 6/10 over MacArthur. MacArthur about 4 seconds ahead of Dan Hill, locked into 3rd. Al Turner fighting tooth and nail in the 76 machine to get back on the lead lap. Now he is in lucky dog contention here if we do have a caution come out. So Turner in a good spot. I mean, he's a lap down, but he's still 5th out on track and in lucky dog contention. He's to bide his time behind Ogle. Either wait for a bobble out of that number 11 machine or wait for a caution, and he'll be on the lead lap and right back in contention here. Now I think Turner would rather make his way back to the lap the old-fashioned way, just on speed. That way, if we do have a caution, we can get the rest of the lead lap cars. There's the 66 machine. 68. Yeah, the 68 machine. People are hard-fought to read on that one, but he hops out of the way of the race leader, allowing Ogle and MacArthur by, and again Al Turner, who's kind of stuck in the middle there between the top 2 drivers. MacArthur has gotten around Turner there, so he's going to try and charge up towards the front. And keep an eye out, Steve Thompson coming out on track. Got just about 40 lap fresher tires than everybody is. That 67 machine will be charging through here. Let's pan a little bit further back to Steve Thompson, blitzing through the field here. Now Thompson's about 3 laps down, I believe, so he's going to have his work cut out for him. But that could be an interesting play on the 67 machine as he's made around Ogle and MacArthur, separated by about 0.3 of a second. like MacArthur falling off slightly. As I think that's Hinchcliffe blitzing through the field here. Hinchcliffe also on a lap 185 pit stop. 3 laps down from the lead pack, but that number 8 machine cutting through traffic. The exact same thing we saw out of Thompson. As Hinchcliffe's going to get one of his laps back here. And a little bit of a pit road report. No, Thompson was good on pit road, took 4 tires, but he waited till lap 182 before he came down. Hinchcliffe, also a driver, trying something different. He came in on lap 185. So Thompson's trying to unlap himself back. And it's going to be nice to see if he can do it over the remaining 48 laps here. Because Ogle has stretched his lead to about a second over MacArthur. Only about 500ths of a second faster than Bristol. Oh, the times have changed. Ogle last time by at 16:09, MacArthur at 16:07. Very tough to see here if these lap times are a reflection on the pace of the current tires underneath the drivers, or the bit of mixed bag of luck having to cut through the field here. Well, it looks like he's going to make his way around Brian Lynch, the number 9 machine. Again, everybody who came in after lap 100, which is the majority of the field, came around that lap 148 to 150 mark. We got a few drivers trying something different with very late race stops, such as Steve Thompson and John Hinchcliffe, who came around that lap 180 to 185 mark. Everybody's good to go on fuel. The question is, what's the pace going to be over these remaining 44 laps based on tire management? And if, and it's always a massive if, we're going to get a mid to late race caution, throw a wrench into the plans of these guys. Ogle clicking off last 1.6 seconds ahead of Dwayne MacArthur. He has a little bit of clean track ahead of him here. Right now, Ogle's looking really good here, barring any late race cautions. Ami would be asking a great question as well. What would happen if we do get a late race caution? Do you stay out for the wave around? Do you stay out even longer to avoid allowing other drivers to wave around? I think in this situation, I think if we have a caution, I would say before lap 220 to 230, everybody's going to come down pit road. I don't know if there's going to be much gambling you can do here at Bristol with how old the tires are. Already drivers have put in 65 plus laps on a set of tires, except for Hinchcliffe and Thompson. Such a big gamble if we get that late race caution. And we've seen it time and again here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. Everybody puts in great amount of work as far as strategy goes. Now late race caution throws a wrench. Now the good thing I think for the top 4 drivers, the remaining 4 drivers on the lead lap, is they are fairly stretched out at this point. So if it's going to be a late race caution, it's going to be either a single car incident, which I think is a bit tougher to do with how long these guys have been out on their tires, or the mixed tire strategy, and that's going to be two drivers that can throw a wrench in things. Steve Thompson, who's currently on screen, has gotten a lap back from Dwayne MacArthur. Still 2 laps down from the lead pack and still behind Tom Ogle. Or John Hinchcliffe, who's also blitzing through the field here. Handing back to Ogle, that's Steve Thompson trying to close the gap. I don't think Thompson's going to have enough time left with 30 laps to get all the way back on the lead lap and battle for a possible race lead here. 30 laps left to go at Bristol. Ogle 2.3 seconds ahead over Dwayne MacArthur. And we're about to make it 3 drivers on the lead lap as Ogle has caught up to Michael Watts in the 84 machine. Gotta be mindful here as Thompson gonna get a lap back here from the number 11 machine, your race leader. Thompson still 2 laps down. He's got to go around this half mile a couple more times to get back and battle for a podium spot. As it looks like Watts getting ready to go a lap down, and I agree. I think Thompson, a gutsy call, not going to get back up there and battle without a late race caution. Right now, I believe it's going to be Al Turner and Lucky Dog contention, but it looks like it's going to be Michael Watts here in a moment as Ogle works the outside line, and just like that, 224 laps in, ladies and gentlemen, we have dwindled it down to 3 drivers on the lead lap. It's Ogle, MacArthur, and Hill. Ogle just rocking and rolling here. Has put his head down all night long, overcoming misfortune. Now it looks like Steve Thompson just made his way around Eddie Jones as well, so Thompson's moved his way back up into 6th. It's going to be a good points night, but Thompson already locked into the playoffs. Ogle rocking and rolling here. 23 laps left to go. That's going to be Brian Lynch, the number 9 machine, ahead of your race leader, Tom Ogle. Looks like 18 drivers still out on track. Bert Dodson has officially retired. Jeff Miller's been at pit road for just shy of 4 minutes so far. 20 to go. Are we going to get that late race caution? Can we finish this thing green? We've had 3 cautions so far here tonight at Bristol. Let's see what's gonna happen. MacArthur's, we pan the camera back, 2 seconds behind Tom Ogle. He's also making his way around Watts in the number 84 machine, sponsored by Lowe's, the Bass Pro Shop. He's locked into this. He doesn't need a win. Most of the field pretty spread out here. A couple little battles still going out on track. Greg McDaniel trying to work his way back inside the top 10 ahead John Hastings, the number 32 machine. Hastings is up 11 spots. Our current hard charger is going to be Dan Hill, also up 11 spots in that number 10 machine. He's about 10.5 seconds back from MacArthur, but again, he may be able to point his way into the next round of chase. Hill just rocking and rolling here. Ogle still 2 seconds ahead of MacArthur. MacArthur 11 seconds ahead over Hill. 12 laps left to go. That's the million-dollar question. Are we going to make it till the end without a late race caution? Ogle cutting through traffic very carefully, might I add. Does not want to throw away this race lead at this point. Such a comeback story for the number 11 White Claw back Ford Mustang. Started on pole, received the EOL, started this race at the very tail end, has worked his way back up to the front. A very strong 2.2 second lead over the fast Canadian Dwayne MacArthur. And despite a night of attrition, Ogle looking very good. Has to be careful here. That's the 32 machine of John Hastings, as well as Robert Garisco in the 28 machine ahead of him. That is its own battle for 11th out on track. Eight laps left to go. Ogle needs to take the white flag safely to avoid the last caution. Right now on the YouTube side of the broadcast, 83% of our viewers say they were betting for over 4 cautions, and we got darn close. We're 3 on the board so far, but 7 laps left to go. That 83% may be incorrect. 17% voting on the under here. Drivers on the lead lap at the tail end of this Metro Ford Cup Series. MacArthur has closed the gap down to 1.6 seconds to Ogle. It was as high as 2.5, almost 3 seconds over part of this final run. 5 laps left to go. It's Ogle, MacArthur, Hill, Watts, Turner, your current top 5. Only 3 of those are still in the lead lap. And I think it's going to be close. Ogle may be able to catch up to Hill here. There's Hill. He's involved a little bit of a rodeo with Eddie Jones. And here comes the bright pink mean machine of Tom Ogle. 3 laps left to go. Ogle making his way back around Greg McDaniel's number 30 machine. That was Dakota Pischke also going a lap down. 2 to go. Ogle has Eddie Jones and Dan Hill in his sights. Is he going to try and put that number 10 machine another lap down? Or is he going to play it safe here? Once Ogle takes the white flag, we are no longer in risk of a green-white checker finish. And here we go. The white flag is out here at Bristol. And Ogle looks like he's going to make it a 2-car shootout in the lead lap. He's going to put Dan Hill down a lap. That just leaves Ogle and MacArthur on the lead lap. The checkered is out, and Ogle with a comeback story picks up the win here at Bristol. Dwayne MacArthur will finish 2nd, and Dan Hill will round out the top 3. Congratulations to I think it's the one viewer on YouTube who voted on the under here. You would be correct, under 4 cautions. We're going to try and get these top 3 drivers up here into victory lane. But first, there's celebratory photos. I think Ogle just dropped the mic there and dipped out, not wanting to be a part of the top 3 photo. And now Steve Thompson's here? Well, I'm a little confused. I'm very confused. We're going to try and get these drivers up here into victory lane. As we've got Ogle. We were waiting on MacArthur and Hill. Looks like the gang is all here. And let's start things off with Dan Hill, the number 10 machine, bringing it home in third. What a race, a quick spree of cautions, and then the surprise long green flag runs kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of how it's been this week here at Bristol. Just, the car drives really good. It's not too much of a handful. So if the cars get spread out, I mean, we can get these long green flag runs. And then, of course, this league, everybody's super good about giving each other room. So it's kind of nice.
Now, Dan, able to come out, secure a very strong third. I'm not terribly good at math. Is that going to be enough to lock your way into the next round of Chase playoffs here?
No, I don't think so. It depends on if anybody got penalties or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure I'm done. But hey, I came out here, did everything I could do. I really wish I hadn't gotten caught up behind the car going into pits because that's where I lost a lot of time. But it is what it is. We'll see how the points shake out.
Well, still the hard charge of the night, up 11 spots, still a very strong third. I know you've got to be pumped, all things considered. And Dan, before I let you sign off, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make this evening possible for you?
Definitely gotta give a shout out to Tom. He's been helping me get a little bit stuff figured out. I gotta give love to my wife too. She puts up with a lot of crap, and she's about to live without me, so I can spend time with my dad with whatever time he's got left. So, um, you know, uh, and I shout out to my parents because I love them too. So thanks again, James, for everything you do here.
Thank you, Dan. Congratulations, man, and hope to have you back up here next week.
Yeah, buddy. Hope so.
That was Dan Hill and the number 10 machine. Up next, we got the fast Canadians. Wayne MacArthur joined us. A good second, a good long, clean run, and clean race car at Bristol's got to be a good time, all things considered.
Yeah, it's nice just to get in here, get out of here, bring the car home, get some points, get to the next round, and move on.
Yeah, I think move on best describes the event here at Bristol. We had those early cautions. It looked like it was going to be a rough one, and then the field started dwindling, and then looked like it was a night all about managing tires and lap traffic here at the half miler.
Yeah, it was confusing. You never knew if that caution was going to come and when to pit. I gambled a bit. I went sooner than I thought I was going to. I thought I'd just gamble, and then everybody came. It made me feel a lot better about my choice. And it would have been nice to get that one last caution and just pit under caution and not have to stress out over the decision. But all in all, I mean, it's a good race at Bristol.
Now, coming up into the next round of Chase playoffs, I believe you're already squarely locked in here. What's the plans going into future races? We've got Texas, Talladega, Charlotte, the Roval. I mean, any tracks you're particularly pumped about? I know Talladega's got to be worrisome for just about everybody in the Chase.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully go to Texas and get a lot of points so that if something happens at Talladega or at the Roval, you can maybe coast through a little bit, but try to point out in Texas and ride it out from there. Roval, I'm a big fan of the Roval. I really like it. But I mean, it's a road course. Anything can happen, and it'd be nice to not be facing elimination or be below the cut line when you get there.
Yeah, understood. Well, Dwayne, great race out there tonight. A lot of fun for us to watch and call the action. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped you bring home a second here this evening?
Yeah, just shout out to my last ditch racing teammates that were out there tonight, Eddie and Dakota and Crisco and Brian, Greg. Looks like everybody had a nice run. Shout out to our league sponsors, metroford.com, Metro Ford Chicago, Patrick Milligan, as always, Victory Lane Sports, Kim Bolnett, everybody who comes out in races like this, and shout out to you as well for putting on the broadcast.
Always my pleasure, my friend. A whole lot of fun, and hope to have you back up here next week.
That'd be cool. Thanks, James.
Fingers crossed. Take care, Dwayne.
Yep.
And up next, the man of the hour, battling attrition, White Claw in hand, Tom Ogle. From the front to the back to the front again. Congratulations on a pretty wild victory here at Bristol.
Thanks. Thank you. It was not easy. It was exciting and some hairy moments.
Yeah, we've seen in season or races past and seasons past, we've seen strategy push you towards the back and have to come through the field, and sometimes it's worked well, sometimes it hasn't. But tonight, I mean, just starting off on the left foot and having to climb through the field, and it looked like those cautions may have worked out well to your favor, able to burn up a little bit more tires early on, get that track position back, and then kind of just click off and maintain after that point.
Yeah, this is my favorite track. I like it here. I have a pretty good line that works and I can pass. But yeah, that penalty, it was something. But then the first caution, I was afraid I got some damage in it. It's hard to get checked up, when the track's blocked, and so guys are going to run into you and stuff. But it was a good race. I enjoy racing with Dwayne. He ran me hard, but we raced pretty clean. He sneaky pitted a lap before me, and then I missed the pits almost the next lap. I was just trying to not get hopscotched,
Yeah, exactly, and that's the one thing. I mean, how do you decide when you come down pit road? I mean, everybody's got their strategy, but how much does track position and what the other guys are doing kind of play into that call?
Well, I didn't have to fight. I wanted to have a little bit more of a gap so I could pit right when Dwayne pitted. And if you have 3 or 4 seconds on the guy, then you don't really get hopscotched. You know what I mean? Leapfrogged, hopscotch. But with the lap traffic, I couldn't get out there, and Dwayne was probably saving, so he pitted, and that's when I decided it's hard. I kind of didn't have probably the smartest strategy.
Well, still, it panned out well for you. You were both the pole position and the unofficial hard charger after a crawl back through a night of attrition. So, well done. I think this should lock you into the Chase playoffs, so that's going to be fun to watch as well. And Tom, before I let you sign off and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans, who do you want to give a shout out to that made it happen for you?
James Hinchcliffe, Dan Hill, Brian Lynch, we bounced some ideas off of each other before the race and during the race, so that helped a lot. My old Team Miata guys, RIP, pour one out for them. You guys for putting the broadcast on. You do a real nice job.
Well, always my pleasure, my friend. A lot of fun calling that race, and hope to have you back up here next week in Texas.
Thank you.
That was Tom Ogle bringing it home, qualified in pole, received the EOL start at the very back, and went all the way back up towards the front, bringing home the win. Dwayne MacArthur finishing second, and Dan Hill rounding out our top three. As always, on behalf of the Old Bastards Racing League, oldbastardsracing.com, Victor Lane Sports, Kimball.net, eMetro4.com, and Dr. Amy the Thyroid Fixer. My name's been James East on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great day, everybody.